to talk to anyone. Hey everyone, have you ever walked into a room full of people and felt like you just couldn't break the ice? Or maybe you have struggled to keep a conversation going, wishing you knew exactly what to say to make a great impression. Well, you are not alone, and today I am diving into one of the best books I have ever read on this topic: How to Talk to Anyone by Leil Lowndes. This book is packed with practical, easy to apply tips that will seriously up your social game. Whether you are dating, networking, or just trying to make new friends, if you want to learn how to confidently start conversations, connect instantly, and leave people remembering you, then stick around because I'm breaking down the key takeaways that can change your life. Let's get into it. The power of first impressions. Did you know that people judge you in the first 7 seconds of meeting you? That's right. Before you even open your mouth, they have already decided whether you are likable, trustworthy, confident, or not. This might seem unfair, but Leil Lowndes in How to Talk to Anyone shows us how to turn this to our advantage by mastering nonverbal communication in those crucial first few moments. Let's start with one of her most powerful tools: the flooding smile. This isn't your average polite customer service grin. The flooding smile is a genuine, warm smile that's delivered with perfect timing. Here's how it works. When you first see someone, pause for just a second. Look at them and then slowly let a smile spread across your face like sunshine. Why? Because that delay makes it feel more authentic, and people can sense the difference between a forced smile and a real one in an instant. Studies in social psychology back this up. Smiles that take time to form are perceived as more sincere. So when you greet someone, instead of grinning immediately, let your eyes light up first. Then let the smile follow. Lowndes calls it flooding. And the person with warmth. It makes the other person feel like they are special, like you are happy to see them specifically. And in that moment, your first impression is already winning. Now, let's talk about posture. In the first few seconds, how you carry yourself speaks louder than your actual words. If your shoulders are slouched, arms crossed, or your body is angled away, you are sending signals of disinterest or insecurity. Leil Lowndes recommends what she calls the big baby pivot. Just imagine that a toddler has walked into a room. What do? You would instinctively turn your whole body toward them. That's what you should do when greeting someone. Fully face them, make eye contact, and show them you have your full attention. Another key nonverbal trick: sticky eyes. This is all about maintaining eye contact just a moment longer than usual. Not creepily or intensely, but enough to show you are present. Most people glance away too quickly, which can make them appear nervous or disinterested. Sticky eyes makes you seem calm, focused, and self-assured, even if you are nervous on the inside. This one change alone can elevate your charisma almost instantly. Now combine all these elements: a flooding smile, big baby pivot, and sticky eyes in under 5 seconds. You have already built trust, warmth, and authority without even saying a word. That's the power of strategic first impression. And this is exactly what makes people lean in and think, I like this person. That first thought opens the door to any kind of interaction: personal, professional, romantic, or networking. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Lil points out that these first impressions are often sticky, meaning people cling to their first impression of you even if they get new information later. Psychologists call this the halo effect. If your first impression is confident and warm, everything you say afterwards is filtered through that lens. So if you stutter or mess up a joke, people will still give you the benefit of the doubt. That's why starting strong is everything. Let's say you are walking into a job interview. The way you enter the room, the first few steps, your eye contact, the smile you give the receptionist, all of that already speaks for you. If you are going on a first date, the moment you meet your date, how you look at them, how your body is positioned, how your smile lands, those are what stick most in their mind. Words come later. One bonus technique from Lowndes is called the hello old friend trick. When meeting someone new, pretend in your mind that you are greeting an old friend you haven't seen in years. Your face softens, your voice warms up, and your body language becomes natural and relaxed. That mental shift can instantly change your entire energy, and people feel it. Think of how powerful that is. Most of us overthink our words or worry about saying the wrong thing. But if you focus just on how you show up in the first few seconds, you are already ahead of 90% of people. You are telling the world, I'm confident, I'm kind, I'm worth knowing. That message doesn't need words, it needs presence. So, to sum it up, the power of first impressions boils down to five core rules. Rule number one, the flooding smile, delayed, warm, genuine. Rule number two, big baby pivot, full body attention. Rule number three is sticky eyes, steady eye contact. Rule number four, confident posture, open shoulders, tall spine. Rule number five, hello, old friend mindset, natural warmth and ease. Icebreakers that work. Okay. So you know that awkward moment when you are standing next to someone at a party or an event and you want to say something but your brain's like, nope, we are not doing this today. Yeah, that used to be me every time. And what's worse is when you finally do say something and it comes out like, so, the weather, right? Cringe. But then I read How to Talk to Anyone by Leil Lowndes, and chapter by chapter, she kinda just dismantled everything I thought I knew about small talk. Like, you don't need to be super funny or clever. You just need the right icebreakers, and no, it's not. What do you do? That's one of the worst ones, according to her. She says the trick is to use what she calls non boring openers. These are little phrases that sound casual and off to the cuff but are strategic. For example, instead of saying something basic like, Hi, I'm Sarah, you could say, Wow, this place has such a vibe. Have you been here before? Boom. Now you are talking about the environment, not yourself. And that gets the other person talking. One of my favorite tricks she shares is what she calls the you look like you are having fun opener. Like, let's say you are at a wedding or a networking event, or even just standing in line at a coffee shop, and you see someone who looks chill. Just smile and say, You look like you are having a good time. It's friendly, unexpected, and it doesn't pressure them to perform. 9 times out of 10, they will laugh and respond with something genuine like, Yeah, I didn't expect to, but this is actually kind of great. Get this, Lil says, one of the most powerful icebreaker is just observing. Like look at what someone's holding, wearing, or doing and comment on it. If someone's wearing cool sneakers, just say, Those shoes are awesome. What would you get them? Or If they are holding a drink that looks amazing, what is it? That kind of question is so much better than trying to impress them with a rehearsed one liner. And trust me, I tasted this. A few months ago, I was at this networking mixer downtown, and those are always a little awkward. Everyone's standing around with their little name tags, pretending to scroll their phones. I spotted this girl with a gorgeous emerald green coat, and instead of overthinking it, I just said, that coat is giving main character energy. She lit up, like instantly. Turns out she thrifted it from the vintage shop I would never heard of. 10 minutes later, we are talking about books, travel, and she even invited me to a creative meetup group. Another game changer Lil talks about is spontaneous compliments and not the usual. You look nice stuff, but like really specific things. People love compliments that show you notice something others might miss, like your energy is coming, or I like how you explained that just now. You made it sound so easy. That kind of compliment opens people up like nothing else. Also, here's a super weird but effective one she mentions. How do you know a person or event? It's simple, but it works everywhere. You can use it at weddings, conferences, house parties, anytime you are in a group setting. It gives the other person a chance to tell a little bit of their story without diving too deep too fast. And guess what? People love talking about themselves. But the most important thing, Lil says, it's not about the words, it's about the vibe. Your energy, your curiosity, your tone, that's what makes an icebreaker work. You could say anything, but if you say it with a smile, open posture, and real interest in the other person, it lands and they feel it. Oh, and let's talk about shared experiences. This one is so underrated. Like when you are both waiting in line, sitting through a long lecture, or stuck in the same awkward situation, saying something like, I didn't realize this line would be a whole commitment. Or is it just me? Or does this room feel like a sauna? It creates instant connection because you are both in the same moment. Something Lynn says that stuck with me is don't fear being the first to speak. Most people are relieved when someone else breaks the silence. I used to wait, hoping someone would come to talk to me. But when I flipped that mindset, when I choose to be the one to say the first sentence, everything changed. Suddenly, I wasn't awkward anymore. I was the confident one. So now, whether it's at a cafe, a conference, or even in a random Uber pool, I try to lead with presence and curiosity because people can feel that. And like Lil says, conversations don't start because you are interesting, they start because you make someone feel interesting. And there's a real key. Icebreakers at work aren't clever, they are caring. You are not trying to impress, you are just trying to connect. Body language that speaks volumes. So, let's talk about body language because trust me, it says more than your words ever will. Before I read How to Talk to Anyone by Leil Lowndes, I honestly didn't realize just how much people read into your posture, your eyes, your hands, even how you talk into a room. Like Leil straight up says that body language makes up over 80% of how people perceive you. 80%, and most of us don't even know we are doing it wrong. I remember this one time I went to this creative networking event, my first ever, and I was so nervous. I walked in hugging my back to my chest, kind of hunching over, eyes starting everywhere except people's faces. And guess what? No one came up to talk to me. I thought it was because I wasn't interesting enough. But no, it was my body language screaming, I don't want to be here. Leil Lowndes break it all down in her book, and I swear, her tips are like little social cheat codes. One of the first things she talks about is open posture. She says you should keep your shoulders back, chest open, and arms unfolded. No crossed arms, no clutching your phone like a life vest. Just open, it makes you look confident even if you are faking it inside. And girl, let me tell you, the day I practiced just walking tail into a room, everything changed. I stood straightener, uncrossed my arms, and smiled like I knew what I was doing. I got approached by two people within 5 minutes. Same me, just different body language that mean I was like, okay. Lil knows what she is talking about. Another tip she gives is the idea of the big baby pivot. When I know sounds kind of hilarious, but stay with me. It means when someone starts talking to you, turn your whole body to face them. Not just your head, not just your eyes, your whole body. Imagine a toddler walks into the room, you turn all the way to face them, right? That's the energy. It shows full attention and people feel seen. And feeling seen makes people feel safe. And let's talk about eye contact. Oh my god, this is where I used to mess up so badly. I would either stare too hard and make it awkward, or I would glance away every 2 seconds because I was overthinking everything. But Lil introduces this trick called sticky eyes. You hold eye contact just a moment longer than normal, like really stay there. Even after they finish speaking, it gives off this vibe of calm, confidence, and interest. And it works. I tried it with a new client on a Zoom call last month. I listened, nodded, kept my eyes steady, and after the call, she said, "You are so easy to talk to. I felt like you got me." And I was like, "Thank you, sticky eyes." Another one that blew my mind, the glide don't bounce concept. Lil talks about how people who move with smooth controlled motions come off as more confident and competent. Meanwhile, when you move too fast or jittery like bouncing your knee, tapping fingers, it reads as nervous energy. And even if you are nervous, controlling your movement can help you appear calm and focused. So now, when I walk into a room, I remind myself glide. Don't bounce. I slow down, I take calm steps, I try not to rush, and not only do I look more confident, I feel more grounded. Lil also mentions the slow head tilt. This one's subtle but powerful. Instead of nodding too quickly or aggressively, you tilt your head slightly while listening. It shows engagement and warmth without being too eager. I know it sounds so minor, but people pick up on it subconsciously. And here's a big one, mirroring. If you have never heard of it, this is when you subtly reflect the other person's body language, like leaning forward when they do or smiling when they smile. It creates rapport and it makes the other person feel like you are on the same wavelength. But the key word is subtly. No mimicking, just gentle, natural shifts. I started doing this intentionally during coffee chats, and it's wild how fast people warm up. It's like their body recognizes mine as familiar. Like, okay, this person gets me. And maybe my favorite insight from this whole chapter is that your body language doesn't just influence others, it influences you. If you stand confidently, move gracefully, and look people in the eye, your brain starts to believe, oh, we have got this. Even when you are nervous, even when you are overthinking everything, and that tiny shift can make all the difference. So, yeah, body language does speak volumes more than your words ever could, and the beautiful part is you can practice it. You don't have to be naturally outgoing or charismatic. You just have to show up with presence, openness, and a little awareness. Social magic tricks. Okay, so you know that moment when you meet someone and you click instantly, like they lean in, their eyes light up, and suddenly it feels like you have known them for years. Yeah, there's not always chemistry. Sometimes it's just a social strategy, and Lil Loudness teaches how to create that magic on purpose in her book, How to Talk to Anyone. It's not manipulation, it's emotional intelligence on expert mode. One of the first advanced tricks she shares is the premature we. Oh my god, this one changed everything for me. You create a sense of us with someone you have just met, like instead of saying, wow, this place is packed, you say, we picked a crazy night to come here, didn't we? The tiny shift from you and me to we creates instant bonding. I tried this at a friend's gallery opening, and within minutes, the guy I was talking to said, I feel like we have known each other longer than 10 minutes. I was like, yes, Lil, yes. Then there's the eavesdrop and trick. Picture this, you are at a party, kinda hanging near a group, but not exactly part of the conversation yet. Instead of awkwardly standing there for interrupting, Lil suggests you wait for a natural pause and say something like, sorry, I couldn't help overhearing. Did you just say you tried skydiving in Dubai? It's casual, low pressure, and flattering because it shows you are interested. I used this at a rooftop mixer last summer and ended up talking to the most interesting couple who run a travel blog full time. Another one that blew my mind is the instant history trick. So basically, if you have just met someone, you create a shared past, even it's 5 seconds old, like they say. You have both been standing in a long coffee line. You say something like, this is officially our longest coffee wait ever. This better be the best cappuccino of our lives. It's light, it's playful, and it instantly makes the moment feel like a thing you went through together. And here's where it gets juicy. The barely there touch. It's subtle, it's elegant, and yes, it works. Lil says a brief, appropriate touch like tapping someone's arm when you laugh or a gentle pat on the shoulder when you say goodbye can increase likability big time. I know this sounds like it could be weird, but if you do it naturally and read the vibe, it builds warmth. I once tapped a coworker's hand during a shared laugh at lunch, and from that day on, he remembered my name after 2 weeks of calling me, hey, you. Now, have you heard of the Hansel and Gretel technique? It's so clever. Lil suggests that in any conversation you leave a few little breadcrumb details about yourself, things that people can latch onto later. So instead of just saying, I went on a trip, you say, I went hiking in Sedona last month. Nearly got chased by a squirrel, but that's another story. That another story part is key. It sparks curiosity, and people often follow up with, wait, what happened with the squirrel? Boom, instant engagement. Let's talk about the killer compliment. This one is advanced for a reason. It's not your basic cute dress compliment. It's when you compliment something about someone that's not obvious, like their taste, their vibe, or their energy. Lil says when you recognize something others might not notice, it hits harder. So now, when I meet someone, I try to find one thing that's uniquely them. Like you have such a calm energy, it's honestly really grounding. People light up every time. And then there's my favorite, the whisper technique. Okay, this is gold. You lean in just slightly and lower your voice a bit. Like you are sharing something private, even if you are not, it creates intimacy instantly. I have used this so many times in loud rooms or events where I want to connect with someone one on one. It makes the moment feel secretive and personal. People naturally lean in, and it feels like you are both sharing something special, even if it's just gossip about the snacks being dry. Here's something subtle but magical echoing. You repeat part of what the other person said, almost like mirroring with words. For example, if someone says, I have been so burnt out from work lately, you respond with, burnt out? Yeah, that's so real. What's been draining you the most? It makes people feel heard. And it shows you are not just waiting to talk, you are listening. And let me tell you about the exclusive compliment. This one works wonders when you are in a group, you are single someone out in a positive way. Like Sarah always has a best timing with jokes. I swear. You just made Sarah feel special in front of everyone, and now she associates you with feeling seen. It's powerful, and when you do it genuinely, you are building social credit that lasts. The last one I'll share, and it's one I think about all the time now, is the future memory technique. This is where you say something like, next time we hang out, we have to try that sushi place you mentioned. Even if you just met them, it plants the idea that you are going to be in each other's lives in the future. And just like that, you are not a stranger anymore, you are part of their storyline. Dating, networking, and social confidence. Okay, let's be real. You know those people who just walk into a room and own it? Like heads turn, people gravitate toward them and they don't even say anything that mind blowing. That's not luck, that's social confidence. And after reading Leil Lowndes, How to Talk to Anyone, I finally realized it's something you can learn. Yes, even if you are the girl who overthinks every text and triple checks if your smile looks awkward, been there, still there sometimes. Let's start with dating. Girl, this book gave me a major wake up call. One of the biggest shifts: don't be a conversational narcissist. I didn't even realize I did this, but I used to always relate every story to myself. Like someone would say, I just got back from Italy. And I would be like, OMG, I went to Rome last year. Instead, Lil teaches you to be fascinated. Say, really? What was your favorite part? It makes people feel seen. And trust me, when you are on a date and you genuinely lean in, people remember that I tried it on a first date and the guy said, I feel like I talked more with you than with anyone else recently. Power move. Here's something wild I learned about networking. Confidence is contagious and composure is sexier than words. Lil talks about how most people think they need to be witty or funny to be liked in professional settings. No. What matters more is how calm and present you seem. Like that calm worker who always makes eye contact, doesn't fidget, and somehow makes you feel like you are the only person in the room. That's the energy. I practiced this at a tech mixture. I didn't try to be the funniest or smartest. I just listened fully, asked thoughtful questions, and stayed relaxed. I ended up getting invited to a private workshop the next week, silently screaming. Now, when it comes to social confidence, Lil gives the golden rule called the flooding smile. Not just any smile, a timed one. So instead of flashing your teeth immediately, you wait a second. You make eye contact first and then smile. Like it was meant just for that person, I know. It sounds tiny, but oh my god, it changes how people see you. Try it on the barista next time or at the gym. It makes your smile feel intentional, not automatic. I have had strangers starting chatting with me just because of that 1 second pause. Another trick that blew my mind is the sticky eyes technique. So you are talking to someone, don't dart your eyes all around. Instead, hold their gaze a split second longer than usual. Even after they finish talking, it signals deep interest and confidence. I used this during a Zoom interview, and the recruiter told me later, you seemed focused, like you were present the whole time. Little do they know, I just stopped my usual eye twitchy panic. Thanks, Lil. Now, let's talk about first impressions in networking. You walk into a room and instead of clinging to your phone or heading straight to the bar, you do what Lil calls the big baby pivot. You act like a wide eyed toddler, open body language, genuine curiosity, and no hiding. People respond to that energy first. At a recent conference, I made myself do this, even though I wanted to melt into my seat. And guess what? I ended up connecting with two speakers after their panel just because I walked up live. I loved your point about storytelling. Can I ask a quick question? Speaking of quick questions, Lil is huge and conversation starters that aren't boring. She's like avoid the typical job interest weather script. Instead, ask things that spark emotion or curiosity, like what's been the highlight of your week so far, or what would you be doing right now if you weren't here. I used that second one at a networking branch, and the girl next to me lit up. Honestly, I would be painting in my pajamas, and suddenly we aren't strangers anymore. We are bonding over our shared love for lazy creativity. Oh, in dating, this one changed everything. Lil calls it the parroting technique. It's not as weird as it sounds. You repeat keywords in the other person says, like echoing their phrases. If a guy says, I love hiking because it clears my mind, you say, clears your mind? It encourages them to go deeper and it shows you are listening. It's so simple, but it makes the convo feel so much more intimate. I tried it on a date last month and it turned a small talk dinner into an hour long soul talk. And we cannot skip the power of pause. Lil says confident people don't rush to fill silence. A well placed pause, like before answering or right after making a point, adds weight to your words. I used to be terrified of silence, but now I know if you pause with confidence, it creates intrigue. It makes people lean in. I even tasted it during a pitch meeting. I paused before my final sentence, and one of the investors nodded before I finished. They felt the power. One last thing I need to share: use people's names like a secret weapon, not in a creepy, overdone way, just gently sprinkle in. There's a great point. Mia, I agree with that, Josh. It makes people feel special, like you see them. I started doing this during follow ups with people I met at events, and my reply rate doubled. Literally, Lil was right again. Conclusion. You know what's crazy? After reading How to Talk to Anyone, I realized that talking to people, like really connecting, isn't about being the loudest, funniest, or even the smartest in the room. It's about being aware of how you make people feel, and that's something no one ever really teaches us growing up. We are just thrown into awkward convos and told to be ourselves. But what does that even mean when you are nervous, overthinking every sentence and wondering if your laugh sounds weird? What Leil Loudness taught me. This is what stuck with me the most, is that you don't have to be born charismatic. You can actually learn how to be good with people. It's a skill, not some magical personality trait. And honestly, that made me feel so much better because if I can learn to parallel park, after 3 weeks of panic attacks, I can totally learn to talk to people without freezing up at networking events or sounding robotic on dates. One of the biggest takeaways from the book's ending is that every little thing matters. Like how you enter a room, how you smile, how you listen. Lil calls it emotional prediction, meaning people make snap decisions about how they feel around you based on your micro behaviors. So, yeah, that slow smile, that gentle eye contact, that extra second you wait before responding, they all count. And they add up to someone people remember. Another point Neil drives home in the conclusion is that conversation isn't about words, it's about energy that hit me. Because sometimes I get so caught up in saying the right thing, I forget that most people just want to feel heard, seen, and are appreciated. Like when you are talking to someone and they are really listening, not just waiting for their turn to speak, that's rare. And that's what makes you magnetic. Not your outfit or your vocab or your number of followers. And listen, confidence. It's not loud, it's calm. It's in the way you pause before speaking, the way you make someone feel like the most important person in the room. Even if they have just the intern getting coffee, Lil basically says if you can master being present, you will always be powerful in social settings. That gave me chills, not gonna lie. Another thing I loved was how she ended on his empowering note. You don't need to change who you are, just elevate how you connect. Like we are not trying to become some social butterfly version of ourselves that doesn't even feel real. We are just learning the tools to show up as the best version of ourselves. Whether that's making someone laugh in line at Starbucks or landing a deal at a business pitch, it's the same principles. Human connection is universal. And don't think you have to use all 92 of her techniques overnight. That's a recipe for burnout. What I did and what she suggests is pick a few and practice them in real life. Like try the sticky eyes one for a week, then experiment with name repetition during conversations, baby steps, social confidence builds just like going to the gym. Awkward at first, but then one day you are effortlessly charming the grocery clerk and wondering how you ever used to panic about it. One last thing that stuck with me, and this changed how I view every interaction, is the idea that everyone is secretly a little nervous too. Even the people who seem smooth, so if you are shy or you feel awkward sometimes, you don't try. You are not weird, you are human, and by just making someone else feel comfortable, you have already won half the battle. So, yeah, that's the beauty of how to talk to anyone. It's not about being perfect, it's about being intentional, choosing to connect, choosing to care, and when you do that, people will remember you not for what you said, but for how you made them feel. So that's a wrap on some of the best tips from How to Talk to Anyone by Leil Loudness. Honestly, social skills are something we can all improve, and with a little practice, anyone can become that magnetic, confident person who makes conversations feel effortless. If you found these tips helpful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. And hey, I want to hear from you. What's your biggest social challenge right now? Drop it in the comments and let's help each other out. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, great conversation start with just one word. See you in the next video.